Okay, what's going on, guys? Welcome to another video. This is your boy NarikChase, and in this video I do want to talk about 10 things I would like to see in Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time HD remake. Now I know the game has already been somewhat remade, I know, for like the 3DS, but I'm talking about an actual like remake. If you've seen any of my videos on Final Fantasy VII remake, you know, I can get down into detail about things that I want to see, and I decided to come up with a list for top 10 new features I would like to see in Ocarina of Time remake. Now, none of these are going to include graphics, because graphics is obvious, you know, something that should be automatically updated. But these are just 10 other things that I would like to actually talk about. One of the things I wanted to say is I want to see more focus on the different factions that are within Hyrule. We have the Gerudos, we have the Zoras, we have the Gorons, we have the Hyruleans. And I would like, and if you wanted the Kokiri kids, I'm sorry. I would like for them to do a little bit more focus on each specific group. I mean, give them more history, give them more backstory, show us some more of their different customs, some of their like mini games and things about their culture. Because if I'm like thinking back to it, I'm like, I never really got the full feeling that these races were like just. It was like really nothing to the races. They were just there. You didn't see them particularly doing anything, you know. But like, what are their cultures? What are their customs? You know, how do Kokiri kids spend their time? What kind of games they like playing? Do they like reading books? What about the Gorons? What particular activities do the Gorons do? Do they like rock climbing? Do they like, I don't know, pushing boulders? Do they like having races? I generally wouldn't mind seeing something like that. Even with the Zora, what particular things about the Zora do they like to do? Do they particularly fish? How do they have courtships and things like that? Do they like dance, like a kind of like a swim team? Do they race? Like, do they, I don't know, sell jewelry to help with their overall design? Like, there should be something to that. Even with the Gerudo, which probably the most awesome of all of them. I would like to see more about their customs. Okay, if there's a race of nothing but women, I would like to see what their political or democratic views are. Yes, we see that Ganondorf is the leader of this tribe, but is it a hierarchy? You know, are there generals? Also, particularly like when it comes to like the do they utilize certain weaponries? Because we see that they can fight with like the little segments. We see like the little mini boss battles that they use two swords. Okay, do they use staffs? Do they use spears? Do they use shields? You know, what other weaponry do these characters utilize? Bows and arrows, chains. I don't know. I would like to see them give us a bit more exposition. Also, when it comes to that, I also want to see more unique weapons. Now, we did get a pretty good roster of those weapons in the game, but one of the biggest problems in Ocarina of Time is, even though you do get these weapons, equipment, like specialized clothing, they're only good for one use. Like, if you're going into the fire temple, you put on the red Link outfit, but you don't really use it outside of that temple anymore. It doesn't really serve a purpose. Also, with the hover boots, you only really use the hover boots inside the Shadow Temple, like once or twice. And it's to beat the temple, of course, but it's not like you actually like utilize it outside of the temple. It's not like, you know, you're going to be running across the water in the later temple or something like that. So I wish that they would actually have more unique weapons. You have the Bigoron sword, which like that was pretty awesome. I really did like that. You had the go around hammer, and yes, you do utilize the go around hammer throughout the game, but it'd be nice to see it be more utilized for combat rather than just to activate puzzles and to solve puzzles and things like that. And you know, you have certain weapons that the older Link can use that the young Link can use, and weapons young Link use that the older Link can't use. So I would like to see more specialized styles with these weapons or these equipment. Now in Twilight Princess, you get the Zora outfit, and it lets you breathe on the water. And even like with Ocarina of Time, you get the I believe the blue suit does let you, because that's been such a long time. I believe the blue suit does let you breathe underwater, but you gotta have those what was it, the iron boots that let you walk underwater. So like a better use for those two, because even though you get to use them, the only part of the game where it seems relevant to use them is Lake Hylia. So I would like for them to have, and yes, you can utilize them for certain puzzles and things like that, but I would like to see more, like better use for the combat to make like the iron boots like relevant or something. I don't know. But as far as the weapons, I would like to see more unique weapons, like more different shields. Like we got the mirror shield, but you can only use that for like either again puzzles or particularly the only boss in the game worth using the damn shield for. So you know, have more shields, have more swords, have them affect different characters in different ways. So if I'm using like, I don't know, a flame sword, or imbue the sword with a flame element or something, it would be highly effective against plant types. As well, just like the Master Sword, which I would want to for them to update the Master Sword as well, because if the Master Sword is the symbol of light, then why not it affect dark and shadowy creatures twice as hard? So you know, I would like that, because think about it, you got the fire arrows, the ice arrows, and the light arrows, and yes, they do affect their countering elements, but I would like a more focus on that too. Now, Ocarina of Time for its time does have a pretty big map, but I would like for this map to be a little bit more expanded upon, because after playing Twilight Princess and with Breath of the Wild coming out, Hyrule needs to be expanded upon. Like if you're in Hyrule, at the Hyrule town, that it should feel like a really big town. It should be active like a really big town. And think about it, even in Death Mountain with the Gorons, all you do when you make your way up Death Mountain, it's like one singular path, and then you have this little area with the Gorons. Like, I don't like that. They should expand it to where it's like an actual city within the mountain. Or if they're going to be like these small tribes, let there be multiple tribes in different areas, each one differing from the next. So they need to be able to have that, like that, it emphasizes that species, as I was saying, about the cultures and stuff. It's nice to have that. Also, with Lake Hylia, it was pretty massive, not complaining much there, but I want it to be bigger. I want it to be like little caverns and stuff we're exploring, as well as, you know, the Zoras being, I want to see more Zora, like maybe have a Zora city or town at the bottom of this, at the bottom of the lake. So that'll be a nice element to see there, because even though you do see some Zora in there, there's no reason why there should not be a little city or something there, or at least a gateway to a city or something. So I wouldn't mind seeing the Zora, Lake Hylia be expanded upon. The Lost Woods, definitely. Now I did a while back read like a bit of a concept of how the Lost Woods was going to be, and it was going to be like this, like the trees and stuff, and it's going to be like kind of foggy, so it seemed like it would be like endless, and I think that's an interesting idea, and I think it did work out somewhat better, especially given the game engine and the time was what they have now. But I would like to see a more expansive more expansive, like an actual forest with different, have like I think it was one part where it was kind of like a pond or something there. Make it a lake over there, and also have like the Zora possibly be over there. More enemies, more different areas that kind of link up. Say, if you're in the forest, it ain't just strictly just a forest. Let it have little mountainous little areas in it. That there be some caves worth exploring. That there be little areas of like groves or something like that, or even possibly have more trees like the Dooku tree, or have some of those little plant people that was in Majora's Mask. Why not bring them up in there? Or in fact, another thing that made me want to expand upon it is in the manga based on the game. There was also an evil Deku tree with all of these school kids at his beck and command, and all of these enemies in the forest and stuff. Like, I wouldn't mind them exploring that aspect of it, because it makes the forest more expansive. I mean, yes, you got the Kokiri village right here with all little kids and that, but is there more villages? Like, where do they come from? I want be more expansive with it, because you got even with the desert. The desert was nice. It was big, but at the same time, you couldn't explore it. So it wasn't emphasizing the isolationless. I mean, because yes, when you go into exploring it, what happens? You run off. It goes into the white, and then you appear back where you started. But I would like for it to actually be expansive, and maybe this is me playing too much Fallout, or me watching Clash of the Titans, but I would like to see like some giant scorpions out there in the desert. So, just throw some ideas out there about that. I would like to see a character tree develop for the game, because I think that would also help change the dynamic of the gameplay without overall like just destroying it. I think that it should be a character tree, and there should be 3 specific areas to focus on. One, the physical aspect of the character. That could go with, resistance, strength, stamina, and speed. Also, I don't know, maybe perhaps have like ability to sense where certain if items are close, or how far they are, like things like that, or if enemies are closer, anything like that. So I wouldn't mind seeing that. And the second one, I want to focus on weapons and equipment. Boost up the efficiency of his skill with the weapons, make the weapons more powerful. Also, maybe if they have a certain element to it, perhaps boost the effects of that element, or add effects to the certain equipment. Like if you're wearing like the fireproof suit, the more points you put on it, the more resistance to fire that you actually have. So, or if it's like the mirror shield or something like that, maybe at first all it can do is reflect light, reflect energy-based attacks. But maybe if it gets to the point you can actually absorb it and then shoot it back. I think that would be an interesting aspect. And as I've said, even with perhaps having like the swords, you can actually make your swordsmanship stronger, make your swordsmanship faster, increase, how the metal, the material reacts to certain enemy types. So I think that would be an interesting aspect to go. And lastly, what they did introduce in the game, but they didn't make it actually as prominent as it could have been, is magic. You had Denfire, Fayor's Wind, and Naru's Love, or something like that. I know one was a shield, one was to heal, and I think the other one was like boost was like an offensive ability. I think that they should, again, you have those three abilities, boost those up. If you're able to use Den's fire, you would be able to, and not only just do like a radial attack, be able to even focus an attack or something like that, or chain an attack. I think that'll be pretty interesting, and even boost up the effects of that attack so that they do more damage. If you have what was it, Naru's Love, Den's Fire, the one where it creates a shield, where it gets to a point where it lessens the damage, lessens the damage, lessens the damage, no damage, depending on, maybe not even no damage, but no damage for a limited amount of time, and then get to where if somebody tries to damage you, it actually heals you, or if specific attacks are coming your way, you can heal from those specific attacks. I think that'll be pretty awesome too. And the last one with the healing, I would like for them to introduce perhaps a poison, or like you can be able to be poisoned depending on which enemy. Like introduce status effects, and I think that the healing aspect will actually contribute to the overall aspect of, of like healing and Link's abilities and all. Perhaps use Naru's Love. That's what it was. I think it is. Have it to where it maybe perhaps boosts defense, or maybe it boosts up speed. Also boost up the attack. So yeah, those are interesting points that could be brought into the fray as far as like the skill tree, because and make it limited. Maybe one game you play through your physical character. Maybe the next game that you play through, you're more proficient with weapons. Maybe your next game, you're more proficient in magic. Or you can balance it out to where you're more weapons and magic, or physical and weapons, or physical and magic. That'll be a great way to make replayability come to these games. Because honestly, as much as I like the Legend of Zelda games, if you beat them once, that's it. There's literally no replayability to almost most of those games. Majora's Mask did break that cycle, especially with the resetting of the days, so you could potentially go back and play and change up things all the freaking time. Twilight Princess did a better job because they emphasized on like mini games and more exploration like that. Have not played Breath of the Wild yet, but it seems like it has more in depth when it comes to like crafting and exploration and combat. But even with, I believe, Wind Waker, there's a little bit more of that too. But break the cycle of when you play this game one time, that's it. There's literally no content to it. So I think a skill tree would also help players be more choicier with their with how they play the game, because if they play the game a different way, it's presented in a different way. And even perhaps depending on how your character's skill tree plays out, can do certain things. Like, okay, if you're more proficient with magic, there are certain places you can go, path that you can take in one game that you can't take another, because you need that magic to be so high in that. Or as well as perhaps with the magic, think about a certain path you can take. Say, what was the bigger one, the hammer? You have to be strong enough to a certain point, or have your strength up on, or proficiency up on that hammer to a certain point to unlock a new pathway in a temple or a forest, or you're traveling. So I think that would be a good, awesome thing that they could do with that too. So it's an interesting aspect, and I wouldn't mind going with that. And even think about proficiency of your body. Maybe you have to climb to a certain place that you have to be like physically trained to get, again, to take a new path. That'll be an interesting concept to go with. So as far as the skill tree, I'm down for that. Now, I have heard that Breath of the Wild has introduced something similar to this, and I believe that there should be a crafting system where you can craft your weapons. Not maybe craft them as in to actually build them, or if you did, you would need schematics, some type of way to actually get the different ingredients and equipment that you would need to craft these certain weapons. Like if you're trying to craft a bunch of arrows, go out there and collect a whole bunch of sticks. Again, Breath of the Wild did do some of this, did harp on this idea a little bit, and I do like that idea. If you want to strengthen or repair your weapons after prolonged battle, you can actually go craft and blacksmith your weapons back to good health. As if you have your shield, or let's just say your shield can get be damaged. If your shield is damaged through continuous battle, you can repair your shield. And I'm not saying destroy your shield, but you could repair it. Because what happened when you played as young Link, your shield could only take so much damage, especially if it was fire damage, and then you lost your shield. So I think that'll be an interesting way to introduce crafting into the system. That'll be similar to Fallout and Skyrim and Dragon Age, but don't make it to where don't make it overly, extensive, but enough just to make it to where you get a little bit more invested with your weapons. And it kind of goes back to the skill tree thing, where it also, and as well as, the unique weapons, that'll be a good way to help characters want to explore and to build up their skills when trying to potentially make new weapons. I think that'll be an interesting step to bring in crafting as well. And if you're gonna craft too, maybe potentially have a bit of like equipment crafting, clothing crafting to help against those certain type of elements. Like think about it, if you're actually in an ice type setting, your character can get kind of cold. You can actually get something to help reinforce your outfit to deal with that cold. Maybe being cold makes you slower. Maybe it does take down off your health. But if you can potentially craft your clothing, you can actually help boost up against those effects. So I think that is a pretty interesting step in a good direction that they could go as far as the crafting. And also it makes collecting and again exploration that much more important, because if you have to go to the bottom of the lake to get this certain material, that actually makes you want to not only utilize the iron boots, the blue, the Zora Link outfit, but again, it makes you want to explore. So I think that'll be an interesting aspect to bring to the table too. One of the best moments in a game where you actually somewhat get into crafting in Ocarina of Time is when you're trying to get the big Orion sword, and you have to get to over there like across the map within a certain amount of time. And I think like every single time, because if anything happens, you have to start over the mission. Because you literally might get there like within like 9 seconds or like 7 seconds. So yeah, that'd be an interesting idea to put some crafting on the table. I definitely think they absolutely need to bring these into, they need to bring a whole host of just mini games. There's just so much that they could do with the potential mini games in Ocarina of Time that is just stupid. Now, in Majora's Mask, there is the Goron races, and I think we should have the Goron races brought back. But since Link obviously won't be able to turn into a Goron, why not have him either bet on what Goron is going to win a race, or potentially have Link get into the race with Epona against other Gorons? I think that's a great idea to go with that. If you want to go with the Zoras, why not have a race against the Zoras? Either betting or you're trying to race against them. I'd say possibly have like, because you can't swim faster than them. So I would probably go with, if they're swimming down a river, why don't you kayak after them? That makes more sense, because I think there was a kayaking game in Twilight Princess, and this would be a good way. Because think about it, there is a waterfall that leads from the Zora place, I believe, through Gerudo Valley into Lake Hylia. that'd be a great way to just explore that right there. So, and in fact, I think you can go down there, but it's been such a long time. I hadn't played the game in such a long time. But I think that'd be pretty awesome too. Have like little mini games with the characters, with the other characters. Yes, Ocarina of Time, you had the little racing with Epona, but why not have more racing with other people and their horses? Like that'd be cool. Why not have training sessions with more expert swordsmen or weaponsmiths or things like that? The missions where you go into the Gerudos, you got to fight the Gerudos. It'd be nice to actually have these mini games where you can potentially train against Gerudos and learn their tactics, as well as develop new tactics, which we did see in Twilight Princess, and I think was introduced into Breath of the Wild. So why not have more mini games? We had the fishing mini game on Ocarina of Time, but how about we take things a step further? We had the little fishing mini game in that little pond area, but why not let's fish in a boat in the middle of a raft up in Lake Hylia, of course. What if with the Gorons you get to have a mountain rock climbing contest to see if you can get there to the top the fastest? You know, that'd be an interesting concept to explore. In the Kokiri village, the kids play with like the Deku nuts and sticks and stuff. Won't you have like a little a boomerang contest to see who has the best skills with the boomerang, or the slingshot contest to see who has the best abilities with the slingshot? Why not have that? You know, why not have like races at the Kakariko with the Kokiri village where they're trying to run, run through the forest or something like that? You know, it'd be an interesting concept to explore. Now, I will say something, go back to what I had said earlier as far as expanding upon certain areas of the game. In Kakariko Village, to get to the Shadow Temple, it was kind of like a graveyard, kind of. And I think they should expand that into one big, massive graveyard. So that'll emphasize the whole creepy definitely aspect of it. But going back to what I was saying about like the training and the mini games, they need a whole ton of mini games. Have it to where it's like a leaderboard or something like that. Go with that idea. Let's not do this. This is Ocarina of Time. Why not the city have festivals where you can compete in little bitty mini games and tournaments and stuff like that? Like, what if you're Link and you go to the Hyrule Castle to try to, get money to get new equipment and weapons and stuff? Why not you get into like a slingshot game with other kids? If you're adult Link, you can try to be in a little bit swordsmith play with other potential rivals or something like that. Definitely need to go in that direction, and they definitely need to bring in some mini games and stuff, because that'll definitely help with the different factions and help keep the replayability of the game extremely high. This is a point I cannot help but emphasize. We need more important characters in Ocarina of Time. Really, the only characters that you get to talk to, or actually important that you can really interact with, which the only characters you could interact with were really the important characters. But we need more important characters. Think about when you have The Legend of Zelda, Link and Zelda talk, and you have Impa. Why is there no more interactions with Impa? Why is there not more interactions with Sheik? Why is there no interactions with Zelda's father, the king, or the queen? Why is there no interactions with any of these? Like, you got Darunia, who's with the Gorons, but you don't really see other Gorons. You don't see him having a wife. You don't see him having a child. You don't really see any elder ones that potentially give you like hints to finding treasure or tips to help you in battle or explore. We need more characters that stand out, have interesting quirks, have interesting backstories, have interesting input to help Link and the players get to the next level. Think about Navi, for instance. I like Navi. Navi is a good character. Yeah, people says that she's really annoying, but hey, what can you do? Maybe I'm like, to me, she's like that beeping you get with your fire alarm. After you listen to it so much, you don't realize that it's still beeping. But why not have backstory for her? Where did she come from? What is her purpose? Yes, the Deku Tree did say that she was supposed to help Link save the world, basically. But it's like, what does she like to do? You know, who is she related to? Does she have a crush on other ones? What is her relationship with more of these characters? Why is there no fairies that you can actually interact with like that? Think about those big fairy goddesses that you find throughout the game. Why can't you interact with them? Possibly go on missions for them. You know, also have more meaningful conversations with them. What are they doing now? Do they talk to the other ones? Can they help you out? Think about you in Hyrule Castle. Why is it that you don't interact with nobody almost? There should be characters in there that's just willing to throw information or to ask you for favors or to just sit down and talk to you and provide more input about the world and what's been happening and what's going on now. Okay, you had the war back then with, I guess, the different races. Maybe it's the Gerudos versus everybody else. I'm not sure. But they don't have like a person that sits down and be like, well, back in the day, I went through this war and this happened and this happened. And really, it seems like the only result of that war throughout the whole game is Link. Why is it there no more Zoras that you could talk to? Yes, you could talk to the king of the Zoras and you can talk to Princess Rudo, but it's like, okay, who else? There should be more characters. Yes, you have your iconic characters, the Postman, the Lon Ranch, over there, the Zelda, you know, you got Sheik, Darunia, the one Gerudo chick, which, like with her, for instance, she comes into the game, helps you out through that one part, and then she's gone. Why? Like, what was her purpose? Impa, she comes into the fray at one point to save Zelda. That's it. You never hear from Impa again, damn near. So it's like we need more important characters that actually can if they can't contribute to the overall story, give us the ability to either learn more about the history of the game, which needs to be developed, or providing more insight to what's going on currently in the world. I have to point out this. I have to point out this. I really do. Nothing, and it helps with the replayability, which, again, Majora's Mask blew out the damn water. Why is that we cannot either replay the temples or replay special boss battles? Why? They need to put that in the game. If you beat a boss, let us go back and get the option to play that boss again. Because there are new weapons, unique techniques that you develop later on in the game that you would like to see. Could you use that potentially to beat that boss? And I do want the bosses to be a little bit less predictable and less set. Because if I have the bow and arrow to fight the temple, the boss in the forest temple, like, I would like to use the bow and arrow to fight that person. But if I end up getting some other weapons later on, the hammer, the mirror shield, any of that, like anything else, I would like to be able to go back and fight that boss and be able to effectively fight this boss with the new weapons. Kind of like when you play Majora's Mask and you replay a boss as the Deku Shrub, then you can fight the boss again as the Goron, then you can fight the boss again as the Zora, and see how each unique character brings something different to that boss battle. We need to do that because Ocarina of Time has some pretty cool boss battles, which I wish that the boss battles be a bit more expansive, be more extensive and expansive. I think that'll help flesh out the characters a little bit more. Because think about it, you fought Phantom Ganondorf, you hit him with a couple of light arrows, that was it. what was it? Volvanga, you're in this volcano. She flies around, goes into the thing, comes up, hit her with it. Do that like 3 times. That's it. Also, Morpheus, the little water thing. You hook shot it a couple of times, hit it. That's it. We need more extensive boss fights, but I would like also to have the option to at least fight them several. Just keep fighting. Go to the beginning of the temple, let it reset the temple. Because some people would like to go through the temple again, but if not, be able to at least go back in there and fight the bosses. One of the most epic battles in that game, the most epic battles, was the Dark Link fight. Now, it didn't make sense because of how it was set up. It was kind of stupid, actually, because you had to fight Dark Link in the water temple. It's like, what the hell does that got to do with you fighting your evil half? But like, it'd have been nice to actually fight against him. And if you do the HD remake, put it to where he's good. He's got the weapons that you have too. And that'll also add to it too. Because think about it: if you go to fight him the first time, say he doesn't have, you don't have the hook shot, but when you go back and fight him again, he has the hook shot because you have the hook shot. If you have the fire arrows later on when you rematch him, he has the fire arrows. So it'd be nice to actually see that as you progress, he progresses too. So I would like to see that with the boss battles. Make them more extensive, make them more interactive, make them more expansive, and make them available to replay again and again and again and again and again. Do that. One thing that I know that The Legend of Zelda kind of suffers from, especially Ocarina of Time, content. We need some unlockable content. Give us a whole host of people we can talk to that'll give us more insight and information about the world, more information about enemies and how to defeat them. Also, give us some biography when it comes to like the enemy types, these certain characters. And I'm not talking about some, hey, this person is the guard of Kakariko Village. No, I want to know where he came from, how he came to be. Let us know, what does he like to do? Is he married? Does he have a family? Does he travel? Give us more exposition on the actual places. The Kakariko Village was established in when? Who's running the Kakariko Village? Is it a democracy? Hyrule Castle. When was Hyrule Castle established? When was the royal family established? Who are the current? Give us at least a list of some, and that'll be a great way to actually kind of hint at how the time at the canon of the whole thing, because all the games are linked, because Zelda, Link, and Ganondorf are different are basically reincarnations of each game has a reincarnation of each one, and it's actually set in a time. So it'd be nice to see that exact time can be linked in the game with this in-game content. Give us the history about Lake Hylia. Give us the history about the Zoras. Give us the history about the Gerudos. Who was the last king of the Gerudos? Like, they never answer that question, How do the Gerudos, if that's the case, how were Gerudos born? How do Gerudos grow and train? If you're going to go with that, the Kokiri also, who were the kids that got turned into Skull Kids? Because I believe the Skull Kids are the result of kids who got lost in the Lost Woods. So that's what happens. You turn into a Skull Kid. But it's like, is there a list of some Skull Kids kids at Kokiri that end up getting lost? Like, who are they? You know what I'm saying? Perhaps even have, say, like maybe a wanted ad for characters. Like if you're a Kokiri and you put a picture up, if they go missing, you have a certain time, a certain limited time to actually go to rescue them before they turn to a Skull Kid. Give us some more additional content, like unlockables and things like that. The Deku Tree, when was he born? Did he have a predecessor? Did he have any siblings? Give us that information. The Lon Wrench, when was it established? And make the Lon Wrench bigger too. Don't make it just one family and like 3 horses. No, make it bigger. Make it just a big. I deal with it be a one family, but make it a whole bunch of horses that emphasize the racing aspect. And you got to think about it. They're the only wrench that's going on here in Hyrule. and they're catering to the Hyrule Castle and everything. So it's like they should have a bigger ranch. Bring some farming into that game too. Also, like I said, with the Hyrule Castle, there's no reason why why there isn't any unlockable content when it comes to characters, events, and places. Give us a full fleshed out world so we can learn about this, so we can care about the characters, so we can just get immersed into the entire gameplay. Because again, Ocarina of Time is without a doubt one of the best video games of all time that actually helped revolutionize the video game. So it's nice to go back. Would be nice to go back and for what it done to change the game world, use that same concept to change that game and bring it back, because I guarantee you people will like it. And finally, the thing that I want to talk about the most is the manipulation of time. Look, the game is called Ocarina of Time. There should be some actual manipulation of time, and that's why I say Majora's Mask is better, because a lot of the things I said on this list, Majora's Mask got it right. Look, I'm not saying, hey, that Ocarina of Time has to go over the period of 3 days or anything like that, but it would be nice to perhaps, slow down time. Actually implement a day-night cycle. I mean, there was a day-night cycle, but I actually have it to where, okay, you can use the Ocarina to skip days or something like that, which would be another great aspect to have in there, like actual time, like in-game time, with days and nights and hours and stuff like that. That would be an interesting aspect, and that, again, you could potentially, if you're gonna, and think about it, okay, like this, with the temples, for example. I said I wanted to be able to replay either the bosses, replay the temple. What if you could sing the Ocarina of Time to reverse the time on that temple and bring it back to its original state, so you can redo the temple? Or you can do it in front of the bosses. Basically rewind time for that certain area to revive the bosses, and you can replay the boss battles. That's a pretty good idea. Also, when it comes to the whole Link and the young Link and the older Link, which I don't really too much have I don't really have a problem with it, but it's kind of hard to say you have the Ocarina of Time, but it does not do anything to utilize time. I can understand if you put the sword into the little stand in the Temple of Time and then do the Ocarina of Time. Yes, fine, because you're making the Ocarina more relevant. Also, utilize it to potentially change the weather. Wouldn't mind that, actually. Use it to help if you deter conversations. Rewind the conversation. That'll work out a lot better, too. So, I want them to possibly slow down time, speed up time, skip time. Would not mind that at all. If you mess up to a certain point on certain things, you can rewind it. That'll be an interesting concept. After all, the game is called Ocarina of Time. But if you want to go back to how the game is played, it shouldn't be Ocarina of Time. It should be like Temple of Time, because that's where you're actually manipulating time, is when you go in the temple and you're going from being a young Link to older Link. So, also, I will say this. If you're manipulating things as a child, to kind of affect you in the future a little bit, but that's a video for another time. But anyways, guys, those are my top 10 things. If they're going to do an actual HD full-on remake of Ocarina of Time, this is the things that I really would love to see in the game. In the comment section below, let me know what did you think about my ideas and what other ideas you think should be implemented into the gameplay. Also, be sure to hit the subscribe, share, like, and the notification button to get the best of what's going on here on the NarikChase channel. And I guess I'll catch you guys later. NarikChase, signing out.